I know some of you were thinking the same thing I was thinking, and that is, how the heck is one man gonna move that gigantic beam? I've been kind of pondering that question myself, and I saw something that wood-mizer delivered, and it's not labeled for this use, but I thought, gosh, that sure does look like a timber cart. If you know anything about timber framing, a lot of it's done with minimal manpower, so we use levers. I looked at this little trailer thing, which is part of our trailer package for our sawmill, and as it is in its current form, I thought, gosh, that looks a lot like a timber cart. But then I'm like, oh, Jesse, your genius is short-lived. How are you going to get the beam from the sawmill to the timber cart? So for a moment there, my excitement and my enthusiasm started to dwindle. So I came over here and started putting boards down, scratching my head, and trying to think, how can you use ramps to get up to the timber cart because it's taller than the sawmill? These two boards came with the sawmill. It was part of the packaging. And I thought, man, if I roll the beam over onto them and then put them sufficiently onto the trailer thing here, the timber cart, let's call it the timber cart, and I roll the beam over those, I'll be darned if I couldn't get that up onto the cart. If I had to guess, I bet this beam probably weighs around 1,600 pounds, maybe a little bit more. But check this out. I'm holding this with one hand. Would you look at that? So what I did was, I measured this beam and I marked the center point, hoping that the weight was fairly balanced across the entire beam. This is a little bit of kind of validating for me, because at this point we don't have equipment and we don't really want to rent equipment in order to be able to run the sawmill. So I'm sort of working through some of these problems on my own. We do have some ramps, and I haven't tried those yet. Looking forward to pulling those out of the package. But that's more for getting the logs on the mill. Nobody really tells you what to do with the cants when you're all done with them. So I'm kind of figuring out how to get them from the mill over to our staging area. It's feeling a little ambitious right now, but I'm thinking that one of two things. I can either try to drive this cart around the end of the sawmill and then over to our staging area over there, or I may be able to back it up and come around the sawmill this way where the trailer is. I'm almost thinking that might be easier. Well, it's raining pretty hard. It's kind of a dreary afternoon, but I'm feeling, I don't know, ambitious. I'm kind of having fun. I don't feel any pressure to achieve anything or impress anyone or anything. I don't know, it's kind of guy world. We kind of have fun with these kind of problems. So I think I'm gonna move the pickup and I'm gonna try to get this over to our staging area. So actually this is going pretty smoothly. Kind of got a head start because there's a hole in the ground over there. But I'm gonna try to wheel this over here and get it kind of shimmied up to the stickers. And then we'll try to figure out how to get it off there. Well, it went good. I just don't think it's a super safe method. I could see a lot of stuff that could go wrong there. I do feel like it's viable. I feel like the axle on this cart is plenty strong enough to carry a beam of that weight. Obviously, it's meant for the sawmill. So, needs some work, but why reinvent the wheel? Until we turn this into a trailer, this looks like a timber cart to me. Well, so far the log ramp and all that stuff's working pretty good. But I do have a problem. This clamp, which I need to use to anchor that, and I'm gonna need to use it for every one of these logs. So that's 4 and probably a couple more. It's too far down here. Well, that's not true. The log isn't far enough down here. So I'm gonna try to move the log And I think I'm going to use a ratchet strap to do that, because I can use like a winching motion instead of having to lift it. If I can't, then I think I'm going to move this clamp down. It just fastens to this cross member here. Well, the old ratchet strap wins again, but I'm thinking it may be more efficient to move the trailer back so I don't have to go through all that with every single log. But it's good to know that you can winch with a ratchet strap against that back piece there. So I guess if you wanted to, you could go either way. All right, the rain decided to let up for the minute. Now that I'm all hot and sweaty, it's really humid. It's hot and humid today, which is weird. Spring, you're drunk, go home. Okay, I think we're really close to firing up the sawmill. Let's check in. One of the best ways to figure out the size of timber that you can expect to get out of a tree is to use a couple of framing squares. I need to come up with a better method, maybe even a piece of like bar steel or something that I can lay across the track on this thing. So let's do that. I'm gonna lay one flat on the track and I'm gonna use it as a guide to check the dimensions of this timber. What I'm actually hoping for is I need something that I can lay across the track this way, so I can lay my square on it and I can get a square reference off the bed. And that'll help me kind of get in here and make a deduction using my square. Like if I put an 8 by 8 on this timber, it's actually maybe, probably not. So if I were to move up to like a 6 by 6 or a 7 by 7, you know, something like that. So using my square, I think I can get that out of this log, a 7 by 7 maybe. The problem is I don't know where level is on the bed. I could keep moving the log up and down over here and over there. I think it'd be easier if I just lay something across the track. There is another way to do that, and that's to run the mill head down and just cut maybe like a 1-inch board off of the top. So cut a real thin slice, which you're not going to get anything out of that anyway. It's just going to be paper thin. Then drop the blade down 1 inch or something like that, or 2 inches or something that you can use. Maybe 1.5 inches, which is a nominal dimension. Nominal? I don't know the right word. Anyway, that's how thick a 2x4 is 1.5 inches. That'll give you kind of a flat spot parallel to the bed. Then we can use our timber framing square or framing square and kind of get an idea about the size of timber we can expect out of this guy. So now we have this line that is plumb with our bed, and we can now kind of draw out a square on here using our framing square as to what we think we might be able to get. So I'm starting in the corner here. I'm kind of eyeballing 6 inches. So if we do a 6 by 6, that's gonna put us, let's see here. So we could actually probably get about a 7 by 6 out of here. You might ask yourself, what the heck kind of measurement is that? Well, in timber framing, we don't use specific nominal dimensions. We use whatever's available, and we tend to engineer around that. So if we aim for those measurements, we're gonna have a little bit of wane on this side of the beam because of this kind of bulge in the bottom of the log. But I'm pretty confident we can probably hit that 7 mark on the width and the 6 on the height, or vice versa. we did okay. So we actually got a 7x7 out of this, but you can see the amount of wane on this side. I don't know right now, obviously, what we need for wood. And so worst case scenario, we put this guy back up on the mill and we take him down a little bit. This turned out to be a pretty good milling project. I've got 3 more of these to go. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start milling again. And again, if we need to, we'll put it back up here. We'll take a little bit more wood off of it.